Loveland Magazine TV videos are brought to you by the generous support of MoveToLoveland.com.
Second.
Thank you.
Move to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second?
Mr. Keel?
Yes.
Mr. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
3-0, motion carries.
I'm going to new business on case 2503.
I move be open.
Second?
You have the, excuse me, you have the applicant here today that wants to speak. Or I'm sorry, the
Okay. Do you have somebody that wants to speak?
Okay. John's will go first, I'll go second.
John Hill, 6844 Oakland Road. Heard a lot of interesting things tonight, and I appreciate Rick's passion for Loveland. I share it. First, I want to thank the volunteer members of the BZA for donating their time to the community. It's a vital part of community service. It requires leadership. It requires courage. And thanks for doing it. And hopefully it comes with some vision for the future too. I also hope that you've not felt too much pressure from the constantly negative, anti-development people or from their social media campaign. If there was an overstep in delivering information, I want to apologize for that. I have tons of respect for the people that volunteer. We felt like the meeting that we got the denial wasn't really, that decision was made somewhere else. That's just the way it felt. And we didn't want to make that mistake again. And unfortunately, we didn't ask the 8 or 10 or 12 people that said they'd speak on our behalf to come down because we didn't know that you would actually make your decision based off of today. Because we were confident that the decision when we were denied was not made that night. So, unfortunately, we don't have some people that could have been here. I do have some procedural questions, and I'm not sure who to address. It might be to Chris or the solicitor or to you, Mr. Chairman. Just out of curiosity, how does HPPC or BCA, you guys are appointed by council, by a group of council, by just the mayor?
I can address that unless Mr. Ron wants to. Yes, they're appointed by approval of city council, so recommendations typically brought by the mayor if a position is open, and that's voted on by city council.
So the mayor chooses a person and then the city council approves?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm not sure if BZA is aware of the meeting that we got tonight. You've already heard this, but there were only 4 members there on a 5-member committee, and they actually have an alternate. That's part of the feeling we got that it was just not going to happen, regardless of what we said, or what we presented, or what we explained. Our presentation addressed height comparisons, it addressed parking, it addressed a lot of different things that were really relevant to what we think makes this project great. And it just didn't happen. So, again, that's why we did something that I regret, because if we made somebody uncomfortable, we never would intend to do that. So, even before we started that meeting, Ben asked the chairperson, there's only 4 people here tonight, so what happens if there's a tie? And he kind of chuckled and said, oh, we'll worry about that later. I mean, what does that tell? What does that tell me? It tells me that it's not going to be a tie. They all know who's going to vote on what. So what we presented didn't mean anything. We also would like the board to know that we were looking for a notice of denial with written specific reasons for the denial. The denial. We received the notice 10 days after the meeting, exactly the number of days required for us to decide whether we wanted to do an appeal or not. I just find that suspicious. Like the last day we had to make an appeal was the day that we received the notice of why we were being denied. And I'm really glad people brought up the other projects that have been approved, because we're looking to have the same consideration as other properties in I guess you're aware or not aware, but call it the Monkey Bar, right next to the Wicked Pickle, got approval from HPPC. 130 feet away from our property, 130 feet. You look this way, it's there. Everybody wants to look that way down the bike ramp and the block garages. The comments on that project were things like add a window. What we heard things like, we want a cottage district, which doesn't exist. We want it to match the buildings down the street. We want gables. But none of those standards are applied to the Monkey Bar building at all. And I want to see why. It's right next to the Wicked Pickle, which is an old gable, fish-scale building. So we're just mind-boggled. Why are we getting shoved into a match down the street, and that building didn't? It's just not fair. It's just not fair. I'm going to ask you to please compare our efforts to include historical architectural details of buildings in Loveland from the past and from the present, and compare that to what the Monkey Bar did, the approved Monkey Bar building. Just look at the difference. It's unbelievable. So the written notice of denial, which we got on the last day, it doesn't list specific items for us to address like they did. It doesn't talk about adding this or that. It doesn't give us a list of things to adjust, amend, or change. It's just, we don't like it. I don't think it's, we don't like it is like somewhere in the code. They referred the entire HPPC 80-plus page document of why we were declined. So we got like nothing right in 88 pages of design ideas. I mean, that's ridiculous. Then moving on, I'm going to clarify, and maybe Chris can help me. I think we made this appeal on the 14th, the last day, correct?
That's correct. It was submitted on the 14th.
Okay, I appreciate that. So isn't it, and you read this code today, I don't know if any of you picked up on this, but part of the BZA code is that we should have a hearing within 30 days of that.
That's correct, yes.
What's today?
21st. I believe, so if I may address that for the commission, I believe you reached out to us, and for us to publish, so yes, it says 30 days in there. For us to publish 10 days ahead of time, which is the notification we have to give, and for us to get a quorum, and as you can see, we have, you have to have 3 for BZA. For all those meetings to align, we worked with you on a date for that. This was the first date we could feasibly get. We did not hear any feedback from anyone on your end that was a problem. So that's where we were at.
So at this point now, we're not following the code. Well, I don't know why we don't automatically get granted the appeal. I really don't. We're going to follow some codes are like laws, right? Like we're going to follow some, but we're not going to follow others. Like that's anarchy. We had to file our appeal within 10 days. I guarantee it would not have been accepted on day 11. So I'm just telling you, we come to a meeting and there's only 4 members. We get the last day notification. We don't get an appeal within 30 days. I think Loveland's better than this. I think we're sharper than this. I think we can do better. Lastly, I'll give you a general observation. It's funny that the school was here getting some stuff done, but I'm really passionate about Loveland schools, and but do people understand in Loveland that we're facing a public school funding crisis? The state and federal governments are slashing what they're going to be given to the school districts. Just go meet with the superintendent. Go to one of his luncheons. Go to one of the meetings. They're going to get hammered financially. And if Loveland doesn't open up to some development, we're all going to pay out the nose just to keep the good schools we have today. We're going to have to pay a heck of a lot of money, not to improve our schools, but just to maintain what we expect. And we should expect very good, high-quality local schools. You know, change is hard. It's harder for some than others. Change can be great. It can be wonderful. We change people's lives by building their homes and moving them in. It's a beautiful thing to do. We're moving in a disabled veteran later this week in Mainville for the Grit Community Foundation. And I'm telling you what, I wish you all could be there because it's going to change his and his family's life forever. Change can be good. So what would be a better way who would be a better group to usher in change than people who have a proven track record of community involvement and investments in the city? I bought my first property in the historic district 25 years ago. And I say specifically the historic district. So I need to address a couple of things that people said tonight briefly. Match the building next door. The building next door, my good friend owns it. It's the bike ramp. Hopefully the gutter is no longer laying down halfway on the ground. And hopefully the RV doesn't have a flat tire in the backyard. That's our next door. When you walk out of here, just walk down First Street. Take a look at the view that everybody gets when they pull into Dave's parking lot, and you park right there facing First Street. Look at the view, and tell me that's where we want Loveland to be. The building next door to us is not residential. It's an old residential house being used as a business, by the way. So, and now I've been around long enough, and I was involved in the Chamber of Commerce and a bunch of other stuff when Loveland Station happened. And I got to tell you, and I keep trying to get people to understand this, we had two great developers trying to do that building across the street. They both got run out of town. This is Plan C. We hate Plan C. We had really good, you know, that developer went to Marymount and built beautiful buildings down there right off the square. And Loveland missed out. You know why? It's because all the anti-development people and the people that didn't have the courage to say yes. So I would like the guidelines for HPPC to be consistently applied because we don't think they are being consistently applied. We think there's technical errors in the process. And I respect everybody's opinion, and I love Loveland. But with that, I'll turn it over to Ben.
Can you just get going for me real quick? Grab some water.
Ben Hill, Railroad Avenue. Thank you, members, tonight. You know, this is our first appeal. We haven't really developed anything before, so I mean, we're working our way through this. You know, we don't mean to offend anybody. We're trying to build something beautiful, something that's big, something that's historic. You know, that's going to stand the test of time. That's what we want to do. We want to build something proud. We don't want to build smaller, simple houses on these lots. It's in the middle of downtown Loveland. We think it should be something that is, you know, proud, something that stands out a little bit. So I've got some, you know, I got a couple points I want to make. 3 points on why I think you all should approve this appeal. Number one, you know, the dates on this official notification just were simply not accurate. You know, and I'm looking at this appeal, or this notification, it just shut down a $4 million project that we were going to invest in, you know, and the dates are all incorrect. You know, if this was like if this was a citation from a police officer, this would be thrown out. And I'll go to that. Number two, you know, which section of 1328 are we not in compliance with? You know, there's 16 sections of section 1328. What are we supposed to appeal? The whole thing, I guess? You know, it just doesn't seem fair, like my dad said. And number three, you know, what were the reasons provided by the members of the HPPC? Simply that they just didn't like it? Was it the parking, the height, or it doesn't match the other structures? It really wasn't clear. So I have to go to the actual citation or the notification here, if y'all can see this. You know, So March 10th there at the top is, I guess, when it was sent in the mail. We didn't receive it until the 14th. You know, and you look at the bottom, and, you know, it mentions March 15th, 2025, which hadn't even occurred yet, which is, you know, it's a minor typo, but when you're shutting down a major project like this, it's really, you know, just, it's upsetting. So, I mean, the dates were incorrect. Number two, you know, which section of chapter 1328 were we not in compliance with? This has been brought up a couple of times now. So like the next slide here, here's all 16 sections of chapter 1328. And so we just weren't in compliance with every single one. You guys see this? I mean, so we zeroed out on all of these? So of course it just doesn't feel right. Do you guys, at BZA, which sections were we not in compliance with? Do you know?
It's not time for question and answer. Get your statement.
Okay. Title, purpose, definitions, historical preservation and planning commission, qualification of members, what organization and officers, like which one of these are we, these aren't even relevant to, you hear my frustration. You know, and so in the note that we got, the official notification, it highlighted here at the bottom, you can see outside of 1328, the reasons provided to you by the members during the March 15th, 2025 meeting. Once again, we got this on March 14th. You know, the reasons, I don't know the reasons. They weren't clear to me. If it was too tall, is it too much for us to ask how tall it was? I did ask that. It's too big, how big is too big? These are simple questions that we did not have answered. This makes this notification not valid in my mind. Does it not match the buildings next to it? Here we go. This is the building approved by the HPPC. This is 115 Railroad Avenue. My dad referred to it as the Monkey Bar. Yeah, this building was approved 130 feet away. I just want to show everyone where that's going. It's going right here, in between these two older looking buildings with gables on the front. And like my dad said, why don't we want to build something that kind of stands out a little bit as well. Why was this approved and ours is not? That does not match the surrounding buildings. Was it the parking? I mean, we provided a way to gain public parking. We were going to add 4 parking spots on Harrison Avenue. We needed 3 spots on Railroad. We were going to add 4 spots on Harrison. That's a net gain of 1 public parking spot. So we've addressed the parking. This assumes 20-foot parking spots here on Harrison. Is it the height? You know, it's 41 inches tall, 41 feet, 4 inches tall. It'd be the tied for the 4th tallest building in Loveland. It doesn't seem like it's too tall. So it's not parking, it's not height. There's buildings getting approved across the street that are of similar style. You know, and we talked about the historical stakeholders last time. You know, people that live and own properties in the historical district, Martin Schickel, Mark Altemeyer, Shane Harden. Yeah, this was in the packet. And we were also given this by the building department when we first started our plans. They asked us to match the strategic development plan. This is why our plan looks like it does, because we were basing it off of this. So this is the bike trail. You can see Paxton's back over here. This is what we were asked to match. And so that's what we did. So finally, thank you members for your, for your service. You know, the official appeal notification had incorrect dates. You know, we're in compliance with most, if not all, of chapter 1328. And we've addressed all the reasons provided that we're aware of
from the HPPC. That's all.
Thank you.